Warrior Nun, episode 5, Mark 1045. It's your boy Icon with a Netflix review for you, talking about that Warrior Nun. And in this particular episode, we get a lot of backstory. A lot of things have been revealed, as well as me being right about something that I called in the last episode. And let's just jump right into it. It's because there's blasphemy all over this place. So now in this episode, it starts with a little backstory about Adriel and Adriel. And Adriel said that he gave Adriel the halo because he wanted to save her life, because at the end of the day, he loved the girl. And she rose up against him, and she saw him as a monster. And then the difference between, like, she had power, Adriel had power, but the difference between her and the difference between Adriel was that she had the nuns on her side, which is how the Warrior Nun coalition was created and how the Warrior Nuns, began. And they fought back against Adriel, and then, they tricked him and put the crown. She actually sacrificed herself to get the crown on his head. She got close to him, she tried to kill him, and then when he grabbed the sword and then stabbed her, she was this close, and then she took the crown and she put it on his head, which took his power away, and then they built him the rock tomb, and then they put him in the rock tomb, and now he was mad for all of eternity. This whole time, like, Adriel, he's telling the version of the story to Lilith, and Yasmin, she's telling the version of the story to everybody else. Apparently, Ava, Beatrice, and Miguel, they've jumped into the sex van. Like, there was no scene where they scooped him up. They just scooped him up. And now they're all on their way to Lillian's house, because everybody goes to Lillian's house when there's a problem. They get to Lillian's house, they're pressing the button, and then every time somebody goes to Lillian's house and then they press the button, she's like, "Go away, I don't want company." And then they always have to talk her into it. And then, Mother Superior tried to say something, and she was just like, "No." She's like, "Leave my property immediately." But then after that, then Miguel stood up, and then he said, "Tell her son is here." And I was like, I knew it. I freaking knew it. They made too much of a big deal about about how time passes differently in the other realm, to the point where the boy looked just like him. So, so it's like, that wasn't a secret. And I was right. That was her son. And, they go in the house. She sees her son. They have a conversation. And then he's just like, "Yes, mother." He was like, "For me, I was in the..." She was like, "You were gone for 14 months. And he was like, "For me, it was 14 years. And he's like, "Now I'm a grown man who gets women on a regular basis. And I'm eyeing that Ava girl." But the thing with him is, he said that in his realm, when he first went into the portal, he was roaming a desert. And then, he found some people. They took him in. And then he was greeted by Adriel's master, Rhea. So this woman, Rhea, she cured him of his disease, and he lived there in prosperity. So now Miguel and the rest of the people that work with Miguel, they're doing Rhea's bidding, because Rhea wants to kill Adriel. So she sent Miguel and the rest of them out there, to bring him home, or I guess to execute him on sight. And there was a moment where Lillian had actually had a picture of Rhea that she got from Lilith. And then when she showed her son the picture, she was like, "Is this Rhea?" And then when he looked into her eyes, even through a computer screen, he was like in a daze, and he was just like, "Rhea is absolute." So basically what's going to happen at some point, here goes the early prediction. What's going to happen is Miguel's going to help them take down Adriel, and then Miguel's coalition is going to turn on the Warrior Nuns, because now they're going to do Rhea's bidding. Mark my words. So then after that, like, he was just like, "Yes, her Rhea is absolute." And then her mom was just like, Lillian was like, "I don't know what's going on with this boy." But they kept their mouth shut. They kept it moving. Camilla, she let Beatrice know that because she said that because she heard Adriel's voice again. He was just like, "Oh, you can't find me, child." And then she was like, "Oh, no." And then she bumped into Beatrice. And then after, with her talking to Beatrice said that there's something in the back of her neck. There's a cross in the back of her neck. Camilla was reminded that when they were at the museum, some random old crusty nun had touched her on the shoulder and apparently planted this cross chip in the back of her neck. Now, because of that, it gives her a link to Adriel, which is why he can hear her voice and why he can appear some places, and why she thinks she's going crazy. But then Beatrice told her, she was like, there's nothing I can do. I can't take it out because it's infused in your spine. And if I remove it, then you'll probably die. So now she's upset. And then she's just praying that, that something can happen. She outed Beatrice as being a lesbian. She was just like, "I know you have feelings for the warrior nun, but warrior nuns die." So don't have those silly feelings. And then every single time, like the lesbian thing gets brought up, like you can hear like Beatrice's heart stop. But the thing is, every single person that interacts with her, who mentions it or who hints at it, Beatrice is really the only one that cares at this point. Like nobody else cares. Like Camilla took her hands and she was like, "Look, it's okay. Like it's all gravy." So I understand that Beatrice is like traumatized by probably what happened with her parents, when they found out about her sexual preference. But it's at the point now she need to let that shit go, because her sisters are with her, like all the nuns love her and appreciate her. Anyway, but she still got her eye on one particular nun, which is the Warrior Nun. So now Mother Superior and Yasmin, they end up going to the Pope because the Pope had called a Pope conference and he brought all holy people together in one room. He was denouncing Adriel. He was just like, I will not go on TV and, give the light to this blasphemer. And he's like, anybody that, rides with him will basically die. And then we know how to kill him and all this other stuff. Basically, and then some old random dude, he got up and he was just like, oh, we won't renounce the man from, the other world and blah, blah, blah. He could be the savior that we all wanted. And then Yasmin got mad and she was like, no, he's just a blasphemer and then he's the devil, reinstating you're all fools. And then Mother Superior got up and then she was like, you old fools. And then the guy had the nerve to be like, he was like, what are these women talking about? I'm like, really? We still doing this? And then the Pope stood up and he was like, well, these women have more information than you do. And then I'm slowly really starting to like Mother Superior. But then William, I think his name was William, the white dude that was the Pope's right-hand man, he stood up. And then he was like, oh, for Adriel, we cast thee. And then like damn near every Pope priest at the table got up and they killed all the popes and the priests that were siding with the Pope. Well, there's only one Pope. I keep saying popes. But they sided with the Pope. And anybody that sided with the Pope, basically, they murdered. And there was a killing spree. They was like, none of these dudes can fight. Like, what's really going on? Mother Superior has a bad leg. Like, the woman is using a cane. She was in the room with a bunch of dudes and she was the most badass person in the room. And she basically killed everybody and even made the sign of the cross because that's how she gets down. So then her, along with Yasmin, they end up taking the Pope to a different room and like barricading the door. They're in trouble now because like, Adriel's, followers, they're on their way. They're trying to break through. So then Mother Superior calls Camilla and she's like, we need to back up. Otherwise we won't survive the night. And then that's when Ava jumps in. Beatrice shows up. Miguel shows up. They whoop ass. They didn't whoop ass. Like they tried to whoop some ass, but Beatrice said that they couldn't whoop any ass because the place where they were at, it was too confined. They needed to get to open space. But then the Pope ended up saying, he was just like, no, he was like, if they wanted to kill me, they would have killed me already. So he said, I'll let them take me as a prisoner so you all can escape. And then, Ava went in. She basically got the followers to follow her. When they saw her, they was like, oh, that's the Warrior Nun, go get her immediately. And then Ava ran. She phased through the wall. And then that got everybody away from the Pope. So like Mother Superior can get away and like Yasmin can get away. And then the Pope, he basically surrendered himself. Ava flew through the wall. She was suspended in midair. And then the power of the halo failed her in that moment. And she went plummeting to her doom. She hit the floor. And then when she hit the floor, Beatrice clutched her pearls immediately. And then she ran over to try to like wake her up, and then obviously she has the halo, so she's not gonna die. And then she was, and then she hugged her and she was like, oh, don't leave me. And then Ava was just like, we're together and they can't beat us as long as we're together. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't see it. Like, I know like there's a lot of people on social media that are going crazy, like they have a ship name, what is it, like Ava Treese or whatever. Like I know everybody wants the two of them to be together, but I don't see it. Like this is like, for me, it from Ava's side, it legitimately feels like friendship. It's just love on Beatrice's part. Ava does not seem like she's into her other than friendship. She seems more like she's into Miguel than she is into Beatrice. So it's just Beatrice like hoping for something that's probably not going to happen. And I mean, like I said, I don't know how it's going to end, but like I said, I see where they're going with this. And again, like they need, if this is the path that they're going to take, it needs to be more believable from Ava's side because like I said, it just legitimately feels like friendship. Lillian ended up putting on her magic goggles and then she saw like an energy stream that was flowing through the air. She tracked the energy stream to Camilla and then she saw the cross in Camilla's neck, because Camilla was on her knees and she was praying for her sisters and praying that everything was okay. And then that's when Lillian said, she was just like, oh, it's prayer that activates the signal. And then she was like, what do you mean? And then basically what happened is Adriel is basically stealing prayer energy. That's basically what happens. Like he put the cross in the back of the girl's neck. So then when the girl starts praying, the energy comes out, the energy from the focus energy from prayer comes out of her body. And it gets drawn into Adrian, and Adrian's sucking in all the power. And like Camilla said, he's basically stealing prayers at this moment. So that's what he's doing to power himself up and to take over the world. And that's his like master plan. So Lillian's going to come up with something to block the signal. And then we'll see what happens when all the warrior nuns go back to her house with their tails tucked between their legs. Because, I mean, they kind of lost that one. Really, not really. And then finally, Adriel, he got what he wanted all along because he said he was in love with the original Warrior Nun and she betrayed him. And he's basically now, trying to get in the draws of Lilith. And he got in the draws because he put his thumbs on her eyes and made her see what the Warrior Nun sees and made her see the truth of what he sees. Like, she sees all the demons now. She sees Adriel's demons and everything. And then due to her transformation, because he said, you're transforming into something beautiful, the girl ended up sprouting wings now, and now she's an angel of death. So she's betrayed though. She's betrayed the cause. And she's, like I said, she's working with Adriel now. Like, the two of them embraced. They kissed each other, but they covered it up so us mere mortals couldn't see. And Lilith is basically on the dark side now, and that kind of sucks because I kind of liked her. Before Lillian ended up working on the magical blocker, more people showed up at her door, which made her happy. And then when the van pulled up, it was some backup. I thought it was going to be Shotgun Mary, but it wasn't Shotgun Mary. And it ended up being other nuns that heard the call. They got the call, they got the signal, and now they're here to help. And I promise you, one of them is probably an Adriel follower in disguise, and she's going to betray them at the very last second. But it's nice to see more nuns in the fold, so when they come back together, so now they can come up with a plan. Because really nothing, aside from the Adriel backstory, nothing really happened in this episode other than them snatching up the Pope. So it's basically them going back to Lillian's house now to come up with a plan and to see, what they can do to try to stop Adriel now that Lillian knows that he's trying to basically steal prayer energy. So we'll see what happens in episode 6, and thank you for tuning in. So share your questions, comments, and or concerns. Let me know what you think. What's your thought on this whole Ava Treese relationship? Because I said, I don't see it, at least on Ava's end. What's the greater plan here? Because I know y'all already watched the show. Y'all already watched the series. If you haven't watched the series in full, let me know what you thought about this particular episode, and we will continue to talk about it. Check me out on Twitter and on Instagram. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notified, because I got Doom Patrol coming up on the channel pretty soon. The Stargirl season finale is coming up pretty soon. And I got the part 1 season finale of Titans. So until next time, everybody, protect the back of your neck, because people are trying to put stuff in your neck. Let the power of Christ protect you. Cast out the demons of hell. And until next time, may the power of Christ be with you.